GolfNewsRI presents the Golf Dudes Podcast. Here are the dudes.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Golf Dudes Podcast. I'm Joe Calabro. Hope everyone's having a great week. Happy Thursday. For those that celebrate, happy football season. And we have a lot to get to. We have a tremendous show tonight. We have interviews with Ed Kirby and Brad Valois that both took place this afternoon. So we will get to both of those in a second. I am fresh off of the NEPGA Championship at Kirkbrae Country Club earlier this afternoon. And so we're going to get into that as well. But first, thanks to everyone for tuning in. We know football is underway, but it's still golf season, and we're still going to hang out to golf season. So NEPGA Championship today at Kirkbrae, the final round today at Kirkbrae. Rich Barbarian won the tournament at 18 under par. I guess that's what happens when you shoot 59 in the first round. It's pretty easy after that, I would imagine. And again, he shot 59 on Tuesday. Andrew O'Leary shot 59 at Pawtucket on Monday, which we had the video of, which hundreds and hundreds of people watched on social media. So congrats to both of them. Unbelievable rounds. And so Rich gets the win today at Kirkbrae. And again, it was pretty straightforward. He was never really challenged. So congrats to him. As you can see, he makes this little tap and putt on 18 to save par. It was actually interesting. It seemed like he almost forgot to move his mark back, because he had marked his ball for somebody to putt behind him, and I guess he had moved it, or he had to move it for him, and it seemed like he almost forgot to move his mark back. Everyone screamed at him from off the green to move his mark back. The players obviously told him, so that was interesting. Not that it would have meant anything. Again, he won by 8 shots, and it really wasn't even that close, if we're being honest. So it wouldn't have made much of a difference, but it was certainly an interesting minute there. So congrats to him. A tremendous round again, 59 at Agawam Hunt on Tuesday, and then he pretty much cruised to victory at Kirkbrae these last 2 days. And a couple other notable riders that finished were Brendan Ray of Point Judith, Ed Kirby of the Quidnet Club, and Sean Irons of Newport Country Club, all of whom will be going to the PGA Professional Championship next April. I believe it's down in Texas. So congrats to all of them. So the top 13 players, no ties, top 13 players made it to the PGA Professional Championship. And so now when they get there, I believe it's the top 20 players there go to the PGA Championship, kind of like a Michael Block situation from last year's PGA Championship. So good luck to all of them. And again, congrats to Rich on a tremendous performance this week at Agawam Hunt on Tuesday, obviously 59, and then at Kirkbrae over these last 2 days. So that is what we have from that. We do have interview with Ed Kirby, which we'll get to in just a second. I just want to hit a quick note. Corn Ferry Tour is off again this week. They return to action next week. Davis Chatfield and Patrick Welch. The PGA Tour Canada Fortinet Championship is underway starting today. Christopher and Core carded a first round even par, so stayed afloat. And this is the last tournament of the PGA Tour Canada season. So Chris has already locked up his card for next year, so he doesn't have to worry about that. Now he's just trying to finish high. Barring something miraculous, he's not going to win the Fortinet Championship, but finish high, get some momentum, and then the Q School is coming later next month. They're starting later next month in October, so he'll be certainly involved with that. So lots of goings on this week. Also, congrats to all the qualifiers from the Mid-Am qualifier on Wednesday at Lincoln. Special shout out to our guy John Bacon and Mark Santos and Corey Martone. All three of them are Kirkbrae members, so shout out to them. Scoring conditions, they said, were tough at Lincoln. I think the medalist one was even par, if I'm not mistaken. The Dave Savoy of Montop. Montop has won both Mid-Am qualifiers, so watch out for those Montop guys heading into the Mid-Am later this month. And also next week is the U.S. 4-ball qualifying, which is always interesting. So with all that said, we have tons to get to, tons of content today. Probably the best content wise, it's probably the best podcast that we've done, or that I've personally done, in some time, trying to ramp it up a little bit. With that said, we want to hit Ed Kirby first. It was great to catch up with him, great to talk to him. He finished T7 today, at a course that he knows very well. He gave a really interesting interview. We talked about, obviously, his tournament, being back at Kirkbrae, where he has the course record, coaching Roger Williams, and just the state of golf in Rhode Island, which I always find interesting to ask these guys, whether it's him, Faxon, Andrade. I always did find it interesting to ask what they think the state of golf in Rhode Island is, and he gave a cool answer as well. So with that said, without further ado, as they say, here's Ed Kirby after his round today at Kirkbrae Country.
It's always a great event. The New England PGA Championship's got a long history. Very fortunate to have won it 10 years ago. At this advanced age of 60, to still be able to compete, it's such a pleasure. Didn't have my best game, but I got through it. It was very hot the last 3 days, but Rich Barbarian played an incredible golf tournament, and Eric Barlow. They both played. They're two great players. So to be able to anywhere, compete with them, to qualify for the National Club Pro again, it's always a complete honor. So, and Kirkbrae and Agawam, I mean, they were just awesome. Great facilities and great to be here. No question about it. This is my home. This is where I grew up. I played golf here. I think my dad joined when I was 14 years old. All through my junior career, amateur career, beginning of my pro career, I represented Kirkbrae. They've been nothing but wonderful to me, and just to come back here is such a pleasure. The golf course is fabulous. The changes they've made are fantastic, yeah, it's definitely special to be here. Golf's in a great place. Rhode Island golf is in a great place. We've had so many great players come through the state. I hate being considered a legend because that makes me old, but I am. And to have these young kids come up today, the last, say 10 or 12 years, we didn't have that many, and all of a sudden in the last 4 or 5 years, we've got a whole new crew of kids coming. The energy, the enthusiasm, it's fabulous. And the golf courses are all doing great. I'm at the Aquidneck Club. We're doing better than ever. We're chock full. Golf is in a great place. In the state of Rhode Island, I'm expecting a couple of kids, Patrick Welsh, you name them. We've got 6 or 7 young kids out there playing right now that are just so good. And it's great because we love to follow it. It's interesting as a golfer and as someone who's done it. I appreciate what they're all doing, the college players, the pro players, and I'm coaching a college team, and we're doing, Roger Williams, we're doing better than ever. So it's in a great place.
Roger Williams.
Well, I'm in my 6th year at Roger Williams, and I believe that we have the best team we've ever had. We got kind of hurt by COVID there for a couple of years. We had a really good team. My 2nd year, almost made nationals. I'm expecting this year, we're in the Commonwealth Coast Conference, and I'm expecting our team to win. We have a young Rhode Island, Ryan Dacey, who just joined the team. He's going to be starting for me right away. He's a wonderful young man. I got a transfer from Endicott, who's a member at Aquidneck. His grandparents are members. A great young player. I got 2 returning players that are par shooters. So to have 5 kids that can shoot par, we're going to be very competitive in Division III golf.
Awesome, man. And thanks to Ed for doing that with me, a one-on-one interview behind the 18th green. He's always a great guy. He's been a tremendous supporter of GolfNewsRI from when I first started. He was among the first people or so that I've talked to. And I know him going back to his Alpine days. So always fun to talk to him, and thanks to him for taking a few minutes of his time and doing that interview with me and with GolfNewsRI. So it was awesome, and hopefully we'll follow his run at the PGA Professionals Championship early next year, and it should be interesting. He's had a obviously tremendous career, as I say. He's an RI legend, and so always great to catch up with Ed. Also, in the same breath, I also chatted with Brad Valois today. He was up at Kirkbrae just hanging out. For whatever reason, the course was closed, but he was up there just hanging out. It wasn't some of the golf. So I said, Brad, you want to do a podcast for 10 minutes? And he said, sure. I ended up going 14 minutes, so I lied. But I ended up sitting down with Brad Valois. We discussed any number of things. As many of you know, Brad is one of the best amateur golfers to ever come out of Rhode Island. And he's trying to get back to the top. Obviously, he's had struggles with his game over the last several years, or whatever it may be. But he's an interesting guy to talk to, and it was fun to catch up with him this afternoon on the deck at Kirkbrae for about 15 minutes or so. And we talked about everything from his game, from what he sees in these NEPGA professionals, to playing in USGA events, which is always a big deal, obviously, for anybody, but certainly for people from Rhode Island. So without further ado, here is my interview with Brad Valois today at Kirkbrae. All right, we're here at Kirkbrae Country Club from the NEPGA Championship. As the leaders are, as we're taping this, are on the back side. It looks like Rich Barbarian is going to win, barring an epic disaster. But excited to be joined by Brad Valois, one of the top amateur golfers in Rhode Island history. And he was just hanging around, so I said, "Hey, come tape a podcast with me." And you said, "Sure." What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Just came by for some lunch this afternoon, I guess. Watched some golf a little bit, getting to see some of the players tee up on the 10th hole, which is a little different. I actually went through while I worked today. I went through the scoring average for each hole.
Yeah.
And I was shocked to see at some of the difficulties of some of the holes versus where they are on the traditional scorecard. What do you think the hardest hole is?
Today,
and for all the pros the last couple of days. Out of all 18 holes here at Kirkbrae, what would you say the hardest hole is?
I would bet is probably a hole that I'm not thinking about.
What do you think it is?
5.
5.
Is that
hole number 14, par 5.
Oh yeah, that was too obvious.
That's the number one handicap hole for the professionals out here. I wonder why.
It's a quirky hole. They probably, but I haven't watched them. But I wonder if they just try to take it over the trees on the right.
That's a great question. I mean, us as amateurs, we don't really play for money, so we kind of just go for broke a lot, and doesn't really matter. But I guess when you're playing for money, or you're playing to get in the PGA Championship, what do you hit off the tee?
Well, I mean, I hit an iron anyway, so it wouldn't make a difference to me. But you can see it here on 10. We're high above the 10th hole for those that don't know where exactly we are. You can see it here on 10. I'm driver, it's a touch-out lead.
Okay, I found this on the web for how to 10 iron Barbarian hit driver. Check it out.
Right. Anyway, but he hit driver. He has like a 10-shot lead, but these other guys all hit irons. So
shocked to see that. I was one of the that, along with seeing hole number 14 as the hardest hole. I would say I was genuinely shocked to see professionals, especially in the final group, hit irons.
Yeah, I was
240 or 250 yard.
But again, maybe they're trying to protect their position. I think the top 13 make it to the PGA National thing, and then the top 20 from there make it to the PGA Championship, like the Michael Blocks of the world. So it's definitely interesting to watch these guys play. It was cool to see Ed Kirby tee off. He still has the course record here from 25 years ago or something. 63 is the course record. In case you're wondering, you can probably break that, but
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. That's a different level of golf. It takes
back in your heyday.
Maybe 15 years ago, if I played every day, I might have a chance once or twice, but I don't think that's going to be broken. Although we did see a 59 at Agawam.
Yeah, and Andrew in a 59 at Pawtucket. Andrew O'Leary shot 59 at Pawtucket.
In a tournament?
Yeah, no, not in a tournament, just playing.
Just playing.
He trained like a 20-footer for a birdie on 18.
Oh my goodness.
59.
Oh my goodness.
So 2 59s in 2 days in Rhode Island.
Oh, that was recently.
Yeah, it was.
Oh wow.
The Barbarians 59 was what, Tuesday? And Andrew O'Leary's was Monday. So 2 59s in Rhode Island in 2 days. So
that's impressive.
Pretty cool stuff. How's your golf game? Obviously, you've had an up and down year. You've showed some flashes of brilliance and other flashes of other things. What's your game? What's your game like these days?
Well, I'm liking the idea of thinking that the season's halfway over. We got such a late start to the season. We still have a couple more events to go. So I'm gonna hold out and say so far and how I'm doing. But to this point so far, it's definitely been underwhelming.
Yeah. What's been, as I talk to you often, I see you often. What's been the frustrating? I mean, there's a lot of things frustrating about golf, obviously. For anyone that plays it, we know. But what's been frustrating for you? Just you haven't been able to find that magic?
I think the older you get, the more maintenance it takes to maintain your body and to maintain a level of performance. I mean, to hit the ball as far as you did, in your college days, which is all those years ago. I mean, it takes a little bit of you got to stay in decent shape, which is hard to do, which takes up a lot of time and a lot of resources. So that's probably first and foremost. And then second thing is you got to play a lot. You got to practice a lot, right, to build confidence. So I've been reading the books lately. I've been sharing the books with everybody that I know of, and it's the books by Bob Rotella, Golf's Not a Game of Perfect, and Putting Out of Your Mind, and how big the mental side impacts your performance overall. And a lot of that comes to when you practice and when you play, you're training your brain and you're training your mind to build confidence, right? So how you play, how you practice, all have a big impact on how you do. So for me, not having the confidence because I don't play that much, maybe once a week at best, it's affecting my performance down the stretch in pressure situations, and it's clearly evident, I guess, in all my recent events. But
It makes you appreciate Bobby Leopold coming on this late.
yeah,
I don't want to say late stages. He's certainly not old by any stretch, but later stages of his career, quote unquote, to
absolutely.
bang a few amateur wins out, and other guys doing the same thing. Kevin Blazer and those guys. It makes you appreciate what they're doing.
Absolutely. I mean, I ran into Billy Auger.
Yeah.
At the amateur, I think it was this year. And I remember playing when I won my amateurs all those years ago, maybe 10 years plus ago, when I went on my run. I remember the guys that I was beating and playing against was Charlie, Billy, and I just remember Billy being a great competitor, right? And then since he's had a kid, he kind of didn't stop playing for a number of years. Then to see him back out there, the first thing I said to him, I was like, man, I never gave you guys enough credit. When you guys were 35, 40 years old and I was 18, 19 years old, being up on you guys a little bit, playing golf every day, looking back on it, how impressive it was to see guys that play once, twice a week show great scores and compete with the young guys. But to see Bobby doing what he's doing, it's super impressive because he's like a fine wine, keeps getting better with age.
Now you guys are tied at 4.
Yeah.
Amateurs.
Oh yeah.
So it's only right if you guys meet head to head.
Yeah.
For a title in the coming year or two. I think that'd be
it's
oddly enough, right? Just like it's only right if the Celtics and Lakers played each other for a banner 18. It's only right if you guys play each other for title number 5. So hopefully
that would happen. So with that, I think Bobby and I now, since like 1920, I have the most amateurs all time by a lot, right? So Bobby and I faced each other head to head twice. I lost both times. I blew the lead both times. I was up in both matches coming down the stretch, and Bobby overtook me. I'm hoping third time's a charm if we ever get that date. It's definitely going to be a big match, and it's definitely overdue.
That would definitely be fun. I think
I'm about to read my books.
Read your book.
Really practice what I preach. It's going to take my best game to ever have a chance.
Watch some of the pros out there, see what they're doing. We've talked about this before. You had the opportunity to play some of these kids in the amateur and elsewhere as well. The state of Rhode Island golf, I don't know that it's ever been better or stronger, just in general. You have a unique perspective because you were a young kid, you were a phenom of sorts.
Yeah.
Now these other kids are coming, the Max Jackson, the Harry Dessels. Harry obviously made it to the amateur final. He won the stroke play.
Yeah.
How do you look at that? What's your perspective on kind of the younger generation coming quickly for what you guys have done for the last couple of years?
I mean, when I was coming on, we've always had in Rhode Island, we've always had a healthy mid-amateur population, I guess, if you want to call it that. Ranging from back in the day from Charlie and Billy and Susie and Dr. Peary, always competed with the young guys. So even the young guys, when they were doing or excelling quite a bit in college, they always were still able to compete. And then over the last, say, 10, 12 years, we've had Rhode Island, oddly enough, been a top 5 state in the whole country in terms of our top 5 guys, as evidenced by all those USGA state team tournaments. I think we finished second one year. I remember playing on a few of them where we finished top 5 a couple times. So state of the game Rhode Island is super strong. I don't know how or why, but it's definitely always been strong. And having the younger kids like Max and Dressels or Harry, he's coming around this year. He's had a couple close calls and he was finally able to get one with the stroke play this year, which is very hard to do, by the way. You got to get hot on the last day. It's just a sign, I think, to the quality of golf that we have in terms of golf courses, the weather coming around a little bit. We have a lot of great pros to teach and learn from. But more importantly is we got a lot of diversity in terms of the age groups and who can compete and succeed out here. So it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. What's next for you? You have the Mid-Am coming up?
We got the USGA football qualifying next week on the 12th over at PJ. So I'm playing with my former college teammate at our former college home course. So I'm feeling a good 59 watch myself.
And who's that?
For me and Andrew Ferranzano.
All right,
So watch out. I'm calling possibly an early 59.
all right. You let
If
me
not,
know.
we'll get a chance to scare it.
Yeah, there goes the US football qualifying. Then you have the mid-am after that, or
Yep.
later
I
in
think
the
we
month.
have the state mid-am at the
Yeah,
end of the
that's what I
month.
mean. Yeah,
Which I've never won one of those. Bobby's, I think, got 9 of them. If not 9, he's got 12 of them, even though he hasn't been in mid-am for 12 years. It feels like he has them. So hopefully someone else can win this one this year. I know it's going to be tough because
Yeah.
Bobby's
well,
obviously a great
Kirkbrae's
player,
own
but
Larry LaFauci, defending champion.
that's right. That's
You got
right.
yourself, you got Hamilton, you have obviously Bobby's gonna do Bobby things.
Speaking
and-
of Hamilton, he's come on to the scene and like just ferociously. Like he's
Yeah.
come on and he's in the mix in the top 3. It seems like in every single event now, just
he's playing some really
bombing it by
really
all
good
of us,
golf.
and
Yeah.
you know what I mean, chipping up to there nice and close and shooting some really great scores.
Yeah, I mean, he crushed it. I watched him tee off here. He crushes it. But then the other day, he was just grinding on the putting green, headphones in, just
Yeah,
putt after putt after putt. I'm like, yeah, I'll skip that.
yeah, yeah.
We'll skip that part. But no, it's been amazing, and what a great opportunity being at Kirkbrae obviously provides. Oh, your food's coming. There you
Right
go.
there for me. Thank you.
You need anything else?
Nope, that's great. Thank you.
Last thing, I'm curious as you talk about the US football. The US mid-am is this weekend. Aguam's Joel Harvey is actually playing. I'm supposed to be
Is it
talking to
US
him.
mid-am?
Yeah,
Really?
he's the only Rhode Island qualifier.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's this week up in Sleepy Hollow.
Yep.
I think it's New York, but you've played in all these things. We've talked about this before. Just what is that like? What is it like to go to those events? What is it like to be there? Like what's that experience like?
So for me, I would have loved to turn professional all those years ago, but
Was it on the table for you?
not really. I mean,
Not
it takes
really.
a
Yeah.
lot behind the scenes, I guess, to make it happen.
I mean, just
a
look
lot
at
of money.
Davis and Patrick. I mean,
Yeah, a lot of it back then, though,
work.
it comes to, it takes a lot of money, I guess,
Right.
to build a business in that sense. So it wasn't all there for me. So I didn't really have that opportunity. But looking back on it, the number one like benefit of being an amateur, especially a good amateur, is being able to play in these USGAs and some of the bigger tournaments like the Northeast and the Border Cups and the Sun Hannahs, because it's truly like a first class professional
feel like
level
a pro.
field.
You
Like,
feel like
when
a
you go to a USGA event,
Yeah.
it's like I can't explain anything like it. From as soon as the minute you land in the airport, right, you're getting picked up by a Lexus courtesy car, you get driven to the hotel, and then from there it's literally first class amenities, first class driving range experience. You know what I mean? They got your own bags of balls. You know what I mean? They just take care of you, and it's such a unique and fun experience that even if you don't compete well enough to win or place, it's still going to be one of the best experiences you'll ever have in your life. But speaking of the mid amateur, I have always been saying for 10, 15 years now, there's going to be somebody locally that does well, because in reality, there's 300 something guys that make the fields, and everybody works, right? Everyone's got
Right.
little kids running around, everyone's works a lot, or everyone's got something going on, so they can't be professional golfers. There's 10 guys in the whole country maybe that are like professional golfers, where
Right.
they don't work and they play golf every day, but that leaves a lot of guys left. And 64 make match play, so if someone gets hot, I always said, like a Bobby or myself, someone's going to get to win this thing, and somebody that we know is going to play the Masters, right? And oddly
That'd
enough,
be something.
it happened with Maddie. So
yeah.
I think we're still young enough though, where Bobby might have a chance. You know what I mean? Hopefully someday I get to play in it again.
Yeah.
I have a chance, but it's one of the best experiences you're ever going to get, because it's professional level. You get to feel it's nothing like being my guest, I guess, having to hit a tough clutch putt to make a match, or to win a match, or to make match play or something like that on greens that are rolling at 14s. You know what I mean? You get to play once a year at some famous golf course. It's just a golfer's dream.
Absolutely. Well, we're gonna let you eat. Thanks for hanging out for a few minutes. Really appreciate it. That's Brad Valois, and we'll be right back after this. This is the Golf Dudes podcast from the NEPGA Championship at Kirkbrae Country Club.
All right, thanks so much to Brad Valois for joining me for a handful of minutes this afternoon at the club. Always great to talk to him, and always, again, special thanks to Ed Kirby for giving me a few minutes of his time. So there you go, Ed Kirby and Brad Valois. It doesn't get too much better than that on the Golf Dudes podcast. Now, both of those interviews will be put separately on the website over the next day or two. hopefully both by Friday. If not, certainly one will be on Friday, the other will be on Saturday. So you can check those interviews out separately. They'll be in separate stories, separate thumbnails, pictures, and everything. So you can check both of those interviews out on GolfNewsRI.com separately over the next 2 days, or you just keep rewatching the Golf Dudes podcast, whichever floats your boat. So there's that. So a tremendous couple of days of content coming up, just as far as those go. The other thing to look out for this weekend, probably Friday, is my interview with Joel Harvey. Joel Harvey from Agawam Hunt. He's in Sleepy Hollow Country Club for the U.S. Mid-Am. He's the only rounder in the tournament. And so I chatted with him this afternoon on the phone. And so we'll have that interview and we'll have that story on GolfNewsRI.com as well on Friday. As the U.S. Mid-Am tees off on Saturday morning. So a tremendous few days of content here for Golf News RI in the beginning of September, and we are still rolling. So that's gonna be awesome. So again, look for all those things coming up in the next couple of days. The Ed Kirby interview separately, the Brad Valois interview, which will be up separately, and then my conversation with Joel Harvey, which will be more of in story form more than Q&A form. But so all three of those things should be tremendous. Good luck to Joel playing in the U.S. Mid-Am. So that's what we got. Lots going on. It's football season. I understand, but we are still cranking here at Golf News RI. We have these couple of days is going to be tremendous content. Definitely consume it. Check out the reels. Check out the video. And thanks to everyone for following us on social media. We reached 812 followers on Instagram this past week. So a lot of that credit goes to Jeff Marone, who's been doing those tremendous reels and tremendous GIFs and memes, whatever you call them. They're hilarious, and they do lots and lots of views and plays. So good job to Jeff. Thanks for all your hard work on those. And we are just rolling along here on GolfNewsRI.com. So with that said, thanks to everyone for tuning in. It's been a jam-packed show. We'll have Christopher and Court updates throughout the weekend. Then next week, we get back to Chatfield and Welch as they continue to make their climb up the Corn Ferry Tour leaderboard. So thanks to everyone for tuning in. And we will talk to you next week on the Golf Dudes podcast.